often, he would also do some corn. He would plant corn in that particular field because he wanted that field to rest. And, you know, his main crop, his cash crop, was tobacco. But every so often, he had to let a field rest. He had several fields. He had, you know, over 200 acres. And so there was a field there that I would notice every now and then would have corn in it. And I'd ask my uncle, I said, well, why is there corn in the field? And he would say, well, that is because every so often we have to let the field rest. And when we let the field rest, we let corn grow in the field. And so I noticed one year that the corn was dying in the field. And I asked him, I said, why is the corn dying in the field? He said, because that's the crop we don't sell. He said, we are tobacco farmers. So therefore, the corn isn't important to us. And so we leave the corn in the field and it simply dies in the field. We don't need it. We don't eat it. We just don't need it. So therefore, we let it die in the field. You know, I thought to myself, that seems like a waste. Because I think we ought to get that corn and we ought to do something with that corn. The fact is, in our text today, that's how God feels. Because the fact is, that corn could never get itself out of the field. I wish somebody was with me.
Come on.
As long as the corn just stays in that field, that corn is destined toward death. That corn can't go to market. That corn is not profitable. That corn can do nothing as long as there's not a laborer who cares to get it out of the field. Oh, I wish I could get somebody. The fact is, there are multitudes of people just like that corn who are trapped in the field. Well, whatever that corn might be to the church, that corn might be the sexually active, that corn might be the promiscuous, that corn might be the liars and the cheaters, that corn might be the alcoholics and the drunks, that corn might be the drug heads and the narcotics users, that corn might be the folk that don't look like us, that corn might be the folk that won't wear a dress to church, that corn might be the man that won't wear dress shoes to church, that corn might be the ones in the shorts, that corn might be the people that don't talk like us, that corn might be the people that don't look like us, that corn might be some foreigner from some other country, that corn might be an Arab, that corn might be a Buddhist, but God wants us to get to the field and harvest the corn, no matter what it looks like. The weird folks and the weirdos, the crazy folk and the folk we talk about, God is calling us to the field. He's calling us, church. Calling us to do better. He's calling us to hospitals and prisons. He's calling us to visit and to take in strangers. He's calling us to continue feeding, to continue caring about the thirsty. He's calling us to continue to do the work because there is so much work to do. We complain that the church is declining, but thank God, that means there's more people to invite. We claim that the church is declining, but thank God, that means we got more seats to fill. God is calling us to be concerned about the harvest. And without the laborers, the harvest will never get to market. Without you as a Christian, the harvest will never get to glory. God is depending on us to bring the harvest with us. And so there's work to be done. What would Jesus do? He would get around, heal, preach a good news. He would get around and see them. Have compassion, speak and pray. Be concerned about the harvest. Are there questions this morning? You can text them, 614-524-4738. You can tweet them using LHB Columbus, or you can simply raise your hand. Question? Yes?
It's not so much a question. You were talking about holistic, way to heal the body, but the problem is a lot of times those holistic places don't take your insurance. I came in that. I was going to a holistic place, then all of a sudden they weren't taking it. So it's hard sometimes.
It can be difficult. However, it's one of the things that we can do together as a church. We've done it before, and we can always do it again. We've done it before. I mean, when I first got here, we had a lot of smokers. A lot of smokers. And over time, there's several people, and maybe it's time to do it again because I think some of our young people have picked the habit up. But many people were able to get partners and to kick the habit. Then we used to consume a lot of meat and a lot of sodium and so on and so forth. We started a Healthy Start class that used to be during the Sunday school hour, a little earlier than that, I think like 9 o'clock. And we learned to read labels and things of that nature. I know you know that we're a congregation that really drinks water as much as we can, and we promote that. And so there are people who can guide us through that process. So if we do have new members that want to know more about it, I can tell you some of the people who should really know their stuff. Well, I tell you what, I know who keeps all the notes. And I know who knows everything that was said in every video that was shown. Talk to Sister Nora Green. She got it all. She didn't miss. So she's one of the people who would be able to really guide you through the process. If not her, I know Sister Lisa, you went through the process. So talk to Sister Lisa. I remember Sister Lisa and I used to eat potato chips, and now we eat them green, funny-looking things that she brings in. And so if you talk to some of us, we do know some things that will help you in that holistic part. Because it is important that we watch not only our spiritual body, but our physical body. Because what you put in your body, later on, if there's anybody in here that's got some age, they can tell you that when you eat the wrong things when you're young, you'll still end up having to do something when you're older, and those medicine bills get to be pretty expensive. And so you have to watch what you eat. You got to watch what you drink. I would tell any of our young people, one of the things that you don't want to consume is alcohol. Alcohol will mess your life up. You might like it now, but later on you pay for it. Your liver is taking a blow. Every time you go out there and get wasted, your liver is taking a blow. Every time you go out there and get wasted, your liver is taking a blow. Every time you go out there and get wasted, your liver is taking a blow. Every time you go out there and get wasted, your liver is taking a blow. Every time you go out there and get wasted, your liver is taking a blow. Every time you go out there and get wasted, your liver is taking a blow. And so later you'll be able to look back on Facebook and Instagram and look at all your Hennessy bottles that were piled up and realize why your liver has taken a blow, because you went out there and you kept getting wasted. Every time you go out there and get wasted, your liver is taking a blow. And so you need to be careful, because later on your children will be standing by your bedside, as I stood by the bedside of my father, and you'll realize that you got some big shunt in your arm where they're taking your blood out, having to clean it in a dialysis machine, and it burns like hell. And they'll be taking your blood out to clean it and put it back, because your liver has taken such a blow, because you kept drinking and because you wouldn't stop drinking, because you thought you were having fun. You won't have fun when you hit 40. All of that will be, your kidneys and your liver. And you'll be trying to figure out what to do, and your kids will be trying to nurse you back to health. And so these are things that we need to do while we're young. And I'm telling you, because I get to go back and tell my younger self, you are my younger self. And so I get to go back and tell you, don't come where I've come. Don't have to get the doctor's reports that I've gotten. Maybe you might still get to eat a little bit of meat. I had to give mine up because I was too dumb to realize that my liver and my kidneys was taking a blow. And the doctor said, hey, you need to do something you got to give up something, because you wouldn't give it up when you're young. You'll either give it up now or give it up later. You'll either give it up now or give it up later. You'll either give it up now or give it up later. You'll either give it up now or give it up later. You'll either give it up now or give it up later. You won't give up unprotected sex now, you'll give it up later. When that AIDS and that herpes and all that stuff get all up in your body, you'll give it up later. You won't give it up now, but you'll give it up later. You won't give it up now, but you'll give it up later. So you need to watch what you do with your body, just like you watch what you do with your soul. You need to read your scripture. You need to feed yourself good things and good words, so that you can live a good and healthy life, so that you won't have to be helped in here later on. Look at some of the senior citizens. I won't even point them out because they don't want to be pointed out. But the senior citizens that come in this church, there's very few canes that even come in this church. And believe me, some of these folk looking good in here is old as dirt. Yeah, thank God for a good dye and some makeup. Because some of them old, but they moving around good. And that's because they've been taking care of themselves. And so you need to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you'll be rolled and wheeled in rather than walking in. Yes.
Message of what we need to do. Do you think we need to talk to maybe younger people, especially when we see they're feeding their children their red pop, baby pop?
I think that we need to talk to the church as I'm talking today, because it's not just young people, it's old people too. And I say that because I see grandmas do the same stuff. They do the same stuff. Matter of fact, really, to tell you the truth, and I tell the truth and shame the devil. Sometimes Kelly and I'm going to bring Kelly with me because it's both of us. Sometimes Kelly and we give the grandkids just as bad as stuff as the parents do. So, it's all of us in this thing together. We have to realize that it is about a village and not just the young people. And I say that because oftentimes we'll say, well, the young people. It's not just the young people. It is us admonishing the young people and teaching them and teaching ourselves to model better behaviors, because, well, I'll be honest. Now, I've ate fruit lately, but, other than watermelon, that's because the grandkids take it. I don't necessarily know if I want them to have it, but they take it from me. If you eat watermelon, that journey, eat all of it. But the fact is, how many of us as grandparents that have grandchildren that are actively coming in our life, how many times have we given them fruit? And so that's one of the things that we just have to think about. Because if you give them fruit and their parents see you giving them fruit, and if the kids like the fruit, in time they'll start asking their parents for fruit, if that's what you give them. If you give your grandchildren water, because they're going to protest at first, but if you give it to them in time, they may acquire a taste for it and actually tell their parents that. So the grandparents have to also be a part of the solution. And the parents, it is the community and the church, which is why at this church, when they ask about dinners, I always say we're serving water. We're serving water because the church is then saying, we don't serve Kool-Aid and punch here at the church. So what we're saying to families is you need to drink water. And I've had many, many people in this congregation come to me and say, you know what, I started drinking water. I started drinking more water. Why? Because we modeled it. There was a time early on in ministry where I always said the church, and I think maybe some of the deacons that have been around long enough to know, I one day realized that every problem that the church has also is my problem. Because I'm the pastor. I'm the person that is charged with leading the congregation. So when there's a problem, I no longer look at it from the congregation to me. I look at me first and say, what is my problem? And then I say, let's see if we can correct this. And so that's why you'll often hear me say, well, that was my fault that we got in that shit. And we need to do this, this, and this. Because we have to think in that terms. And so our children only do what we've taught them, even when we don't think we taught them that. They learn from somebody. And guess what? They learned it from you. And we must take that responsibility. My kids only do what I taught them. And now sometimes I don't like what I taught them, but if I look back and look at my behaviors, then I realize that they've only learned what I taught them. So let me tell you this in that vein, Deacon Cassandra Shaw has a very important point. Let me tell you that now we have more people with diabetes than ever before. Part of it is we're starting our children off with too much sugar. And for those of you who have babies, you need to give them that rice when it's time, not before time, to get them to go to sleep at night. Because when you give them that rice early, you're ruining their gut. And they're not ready for that rice. And because you've put it in them early, will they digest it? Yes. Are they supposed to? No. When you start giving kids hot sauce and all that kind of stuff, oh yeah, they can eat it, they can get used to it, but you're tearing up their gut. And later on, you will, unfortunately, more than likely have to visit your children in the hospital. You'll have to watch your children have to shoot insulin into their stomach because you will not take the responsibility for them now. And give them water. Tell them no. Stop giving them so much sugar, because you're killing your own children. And unfortunately, they're too young to even know better. And you're ruining their health before they can even take advantage of their health, because you want to be cute and be the good parent that gives them as much sugar as they want. When in fact, you need to train them and yourself differently. And even though you may do that yourself, you should actually treat your children better so that their bodies can be healthier. And for those of you who are here this morning and you left your children at home, you not only have deprived them sometimes physically, you're depriving them spiritually. And what you need to do is tap on that door and wake up everything in your house and bring it to church. And if you should happen to even bring the dog, I'll have the trustees to put some things out there so you can tie them up. And every now and then we'll open the door and holler out there Jesus to them too. Everything in your house ought to be saved. Amen?